Hello and welcome to my Learning to Play series. This is the introduction video explaining who should watch this series, showing some settings I recommend you changing, and game information that's less known, like how the in-game clock works, and covering the basic structure of the series. All my videos have timestamps so that it's easier for you to find the parts you're interested in. First, who's this series for? It's for everyone wanting to get better at playing Legends of Runeterra, no matter if you prefer constructed expeditions or Path of Champions. While the deck building methods differ, we all play the same game in the end, so I decided to do a combined Learning to Play series. If you want to learn more about deck building, deck archetypes, and region identities, check out my Learning to Draft series, which, even though it's geared more towards expeditions, also gives valuable information for constructed deck building. From a gameplay level, you should first do the challenges before watching this series. The challenges are basically tutorial missions for each different keyword and basic game mechanics like attacking and blocking. I won't go over anything covered in the challenges since I assume most viewers know the fundamentals already. The best constructed range to watch would be from Bronze to Platinum. If you're still in Iron, I'd suggest you to play some games and get to know the game better on your own before watching any guides, since you literally can only go up from Iron. Starting to learn something new is always the most fun for me, and it's best to not ruin this experience by watching guides too fast. Even people in Diamond and above can benefit from tuning in, because I cover a lot of lesser known interactions and a very competitive approach to the game that can help you gain an edge in tournaments or on the high ladder. Before we move on to the structure, let me give you some advice that will make lore more enjoyable to play immediately. To access your settings, go into your Legends of Runeterra client and click on the little cogwheel in the top right corner. There, under General, you will find, first of all, the option to enable autopass. What this does is that it will automatically pass the turn for you if you don't have anything else to spend your mana on. And while this is useful to have if you play Path of Champions or versus the AI, since it makes you click less, I would recommend turning this off if you play against real players. Because skilled players will be able to tell if you have auto-passed or just did a normal pass, and you just give away information, for example, that you don't have any other card to cast under 3 mana or 2 mana if it auto-passes for you there. Next option is to allow friends to spectate my games. This one usually doesn't matter because you can only spectate games in the friendly modes, so expeditions, Path of Champions, and normal matches. You can't watch gauntlet matches or the ranked games, so that's just to prevent cheating, to prevent someone from colluding with each other. That's why you can only watch these friendly games. Last one, Click UI, I want to showcase in a game. Here we have a game versus the AI. The standard option for Click UI is off, and what that means is that you have to drag out a card to play it and then click on a card. You can't just left click on it to play it. You have to drag the card out manually, move it forward, and then let it go to play out this card. Same with a attacking creature, you have to move it forward to attack. And next option you can turn on is click to grab. This means that you don't have to hold down your mouse button all the time, but instead you can just click on the card once and then move it around freely without holding down your mouse button. Same with a burst spell, you can just move it around without holding down your mouse button. And the last option is click to action, and this is the one I like the most, because what this does is immediately when you click on a card, it just gets played. And this, in my opinion, makes the game so much more fluid. For example, I want to play my Sergeant now. Also works with Sharp Side. I can just click on Sharp Side and click on my card. Click on Sharp Side, click on my card. By the way, if you right click with a spell in this deck, if you right click, it just puts it back into your hand. Make sure to not draw it over here. Doesn't even work with burst spells. But with a burst spell, you can just right click to return it to your hand. Here, if we want to play our Vanguard Sergeant, just left click on it and it goes out immediately. And this even works with attacks. So what most new players do is they just move forward each unit individually. This is not very efficient. What you instead can do is to grab the first unit and then drag over your board to grab all 3 units, and then move them forward. If you want to attack in a specific order, you can also take 1 unit, then pick up the next unit and the next unit, and in this way stack up the order. Another hotkey you can use is the A key on your keyboard. This will automatically move forward and backward your units, although it is in a random order, so you should only use that if the order of your attack doesn't matter at all. Another thing you can do with the click to grab is, of course, move your attackers forward just by clicking on them, but also if you click on your opponent's creature, it already gets challenged to the one challenge unit you have, so you don't have to search your challenge unit, where is it? Instead, you can just move forward, click on it, and it gets challenged. Move forward, click on it, it gets challenged. And then using the A button and the click to action command to just be able to play this game much faster. Another hotkey you can use is the spacebar. What spacebar does is it basically passes your turn for you. For example, now I hit spacebar without clicking on this button. Now I hit spacebar again, and this means the combat resolves. And the click to action also works on blocking. Let's say I want to block this Yasuo and cast a sharp sight on it. Let's change the option once more. So here I have to move it forward, and then move out my sharp sight, then move it over to give my unit +2/+2. Let's turn back click to action. So I click on my unit, click on sharp sight, click on my unit, it's done. Click on sharp sight, click on my unit, literally don't have to move my mouse at all. And this, in my opinion, just makes the game so much more fun to play. Next, let's take a look at the in-game clock, also known as round timer. Most people I've talked to don't even know exactly how this works, despite being a fundamental part of each game. The round timer only appears if you play against other people. That doesn't show up when you play in Game vs. the AI or if you play in Path of Champions. First of all, you get 50 seconds for your mulligan. So you can take your time, decide which cards to keep and which cards to toss away, and this doesn't affect your future turns. Then you get 45 seconds for each of your turns. That's not all, however, because if you pass while having more than 35 seconds left on a turn, you actually get to bank up mana up to 30 seconds, which means you can, by playing fast, have around 1 minute and 15 seconds in critical turns, which leads to you having time advantage and being able to think more than your opponent might. Even if you run out of time, playing a burst or focus speed action resets the timer up to 8 seconds. So you can't run out of time despite playing first and focus cards. A red indicator appears at 30 seconds, showing you that your time is reduced and going down and you should hurry up. And using all your time results in a time reduction on future turns. So if you quote-unquote rope, your time goes out and you will have less time in future turns. This is reduced first of all to 30 seconds instead of 45, and then to 15 seconds indicator at 8. And if you rope 3 consecutive times, if you time out 3 times in a row, this will lead to an automatic surrender. So better not rope on purpose and manage your time accordingly. As for the basic structure of the series, I have planned 15 episodes so far. The first episode will cover combat, the most essential part of Legends of Runeterra. In part 2, we will take a look at the differences between tempo and value, or playing for the board or for card advantage, and then which option is correct. Episode 3 will cover everything around spells, from the best situation to use them, to how to set up your spell mana for awesome plays. This will lead us to one of the core criteria on how to play out a game. The question of, am I winning or am I losing? Afterwards, we start worrying more about our opponent and talk about when and to what extent we should play around their cards. Episode 6 targets the hardest mechanic to properly master in Legends of Runeterra, and the reason why it has become my favorite game, passing, and what I'd describe as rhythm. After that, we take a look at probably the most critical decision in the whole game, the mulligan. Episode 8 will show you how to adapt your game plan and your curve to certain matchups, basically summarizing all the other episodes. And then I want to take an in-depth look with you at mechanics in 3 episodes. First, we will focus on the turn structure and which effects we solve in which order. Then we will take a look at keywords, explaining interesting interactions between them, like why Blended Mystic doesn't get countered by Spell Shield, but Misfortune's skill does, or what happens when Pantheon meets the mountain. In the last rules episode, I want to talk about each champion and showcase how they work in detail, while also showing some interesting interactions. Episode 12 will talk about competitive mindset, something outside the game, helping you win more in the long run by changing your fundamental approach to gaming. The last 3 episodes will be format specific. In the constructed one, we will take a look at laddering effectively, adapting your decks to the meta, and best of 3 formats. For expeditions, I will talk about a very advanced feature called bucket reading, and why that makes expeditions the most skill testing and fun format for me. In the Path of Champions episode, we will talk about specific considerations for the game mode, like how powers affect your gameplay and how your life total is much more important here. More episodes might come in the future, but that's the current plan. These episodes will release weekly on Monday. I'm looking forward to taking you on a journey through Legends of Runeterra with this series, and hope that you and your gameplay will greatly profit from it. Thanks for watching, check out our Expedition Discord in the description, and tell me what else you would like to see in the future.